Before we start, let's revise some important remarks. If we have a triangle, a right angled triangle like this, of course we have a very important side, which is the hypotenuse. And for any of one of the two acute angles, here I have theta. I have a very important side which is opposite to this angle, and the other will be adjacent to this angle like this. How to find the main trigonometric ratios? First one is sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse, and we have also cosine theta, cosine adjacent over hypotenuse. Finally we have tan theta, which is opposite over adjacent. Trigonometric functions. We know that we have a main trigonometric function, three main trigonometric functions. The first one is sine, cosine, tan, tangent or tan, right, for the angle. What about the reciprocal of these ratios? If I said 1 over sine, that will be first cosecant or cosec. The reciprocal of cosine will be secant or sec. The reciprocal of tangent or tan, cotangent or cotan. If we have a triangle and acute angle equal theta like this, of course right angled triangle, we need to find the main trigonometric ratios and functions and its reciprocals. First, the side which is opposite to angle A will be A small, and opposite to B will be B small. Also, the side which is opposite to C will be C small. Sorry. First, find the ratio of sine. Sine will be opposite over hypotenuse, means A over C. Then cosine, it will be adjacent over hypotenuse, B over C. Finally, tan will be opposite over adjacent, A over B. If I want to find the reciprocals of these functions, first the reciprocal of sine will be cosec. Cosec will be instead of A over C, it will be C over A. Cosine will be sec. Instead of B over C, it will be C over B. Tan A over B. Cotan will be B over A. Sorry. Finally, I can say that sine will be 1 over cosec, and also cosec will be 1 over sine. Cosine will be 1 over sec, and also sec will be 1 over cosine theta. Tan will be 1 over cotan, and also cotan will be 1 over tan. Remember, no co, 1 co. That means cosine, the reciprocal will be sec. Co, no co. Cosec, the reciprocal will be sine. Co, no co. The unit circle is a circle of radius 1 unit equal 1 unit. That means 1 centimeter, 1 meter, and so on. The center of this circle will be the point 0, 0, or the origin point. Here we have the center is 0, 0, and the circle with radius 1 unit. Try to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept with the circle. First point will be 1, 0. Second will be 0, 1. Third, negative 1, 0. Finally, 0, negative 1. In the unit circle, if that means the radius equal 1 and the center is the origin, as we said before. Type, if we have angle equal theta and we need to find the trigonometric function for this angle. First, the terminal side, of course, the angle in standard position. The terminal side will cut the unit circle at a point. This point has a x coordinate and y coordinate. Okay, what does it mean? And of course, the radius equal 1. That means to get this point, the distance on the x-axis will be x and the distance on the y-axis will be y. Finally, to find the sine of the angle, sine theta will be opposite over hypotenuse. That means y over 1 means y. And of course, if we need to find cosec, cosec will be 1 over y. Then cosine theta will be adjacent over hypotenuse. That means x over 1. Finally, it will be x. And sec will be 1 over x. Tan will be opposite over adjacent, means y over x or sine over. As we said before, the x coordinate will represent the cosine of the angle and the y coordinate represent the sine of the angle. Let's study the sine of each function in each quad. First quad, in the first quad, x is a positive quantity and y is a positive quantity. That means cosine is positive and sine is positive, right? Finally, tan will be positive. That means all functions is positive, all positive in first quad. Go to the second quad, x negative x and y positive. Finally, it will be cosine, negative cosine and positive sine. Finally, tan will be negative. So in second quad, only the sine will be positive, right? Third quad, negative x and negative y. That means tan will be positive. So in third quad, only tan is positive. Of course, tan and its reciprocal. Yeah, tan and cotan. In second, sine and cosec. Fourth quad, positive x, negative y. That means cosine is positive and sine is negative. Finally, tan will be negative. That means in fourth quad we have only cosine, positive cosine, of course positive cosine and sec. I can say that in first quad all positive, a positive. Second quad only sine, s is positive sine. Then third quad as tan is positive. Finally, in fourth, cosine will be positive. So I have an asterisk rule. All in first, sine in first, tan in second, tan in third, cosine in fourth. Finally, you can say that in the first quad, all the ratios or all the functions are positive, and in second quad, only the sine will be positive, cosine and tan will be negative. Third, tan is always positive, but sine and cosine will be negative. The fourth quad, cosine only is a positive, and of course cosine and sec, each function and its reciprocal. Like this, we have a rule, asterisk rule, all positive. Second, sine only, sine and cosec. Third, tan and cotan. Fourth, cosine and sec. of course we know that asterisk rule, and this is a unit circle. That means the distance from the center to any point equal 1 unit, like this. Maybe go to the in positive direction or negative direction. But so x is always between two numbers, -1 to 1, right? Closed interval. Then the value of cosine is always between -1 and 1, and also y between -1 and 1. Then the value of sine of the angle always between -1 and 1, closed interval. If we have an angle in standard position, of course, and the terminal side will cut the unit circle at a point which is x and y, okay, we need to find the trigonometric function. Of course, the radius equal 1. We know that x represents the cosine and y represents the sine, and if we apply Pythagoras theorem here, as we know that the distance on the x-axis equal x and the distance on the y-axis equal y. Finally, I can apply the Pythagoras theorem. That means x squared plus y squared equal 1, or cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equal 1. That means cosine square any angle plus sine square any angle equal to 1. This is an identity or fact. That means cosine square 5 theta plus sine square 5 theta will be 1. Cosine square x plus sine square x will be 1, and so on.